Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry I haven't posted in so long. It's just my worst piercing experience. My nose has been looking just so horrible, as you can tell right here. I no longer have the piercing. It's just a scab now. So if you guys want to know what happened and how I got a scab and I no longer have a piercing, just keep watching the video. I got my nose pierced like a month and a half or 2 months ago. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. So I did go through a little bit of pain because I do have sensitive skin, so I was bleeding and it did hurt me. My sister was just making fun of me because my eyes were crying. Not because I wanted to cry, but I don't know, they just happened. So the guy that pierced my nose, he was like, well, I did ask him. I was like, what do you suggest for me to clean my nose with? And he told me to use Dial. So I was using this, and at first it did work, so it did work. I For the first like 2 to 3 weeks my nose was healing, whatever. And then it out of nowhere I just started like a little bump on the side started forming. So then I was like, what the hell. And then we went back to the shop and then we asked him, like, why do I have a bump on it. And then he was just saying, oh, it just happens to some people. And then he suggested to use tea tree oil, and you have to dilute the tea tree oil. So I was diluting it with almond oil. So yeah, if you have never used tea tree oil, you should dilute it because it could be a little bit too strong for your skin. So I was using that, and it was working fine at first. And then I don't know, like, the bump went down a little bit, the bump that I had next to my piercing. And I don't know, it just, at first it was working, then I don't know, my body just didn't want the piercing. So one morning I woke up and I no longer had the piercing. It literally came out by itself. I found it on the side of my bed. I mean, on the side of my pillow. I was like, what the heck? How did it come out? Because I had the L-shaped one. When I go in like that, I was like, okay. So that was weird because when I tried changing my piercing into a hoop, that fucking shit hurt me and I had trouble taking it out. And then for it to just come out in the morning or in the night whenever it came out, that was weird. So I was like, okay, well, maybe my body just didn't want the piercing there. So I kept putting the tea tree oil and almond oil together on my nose. And I was hoping the bump would go down. And it was like a clear little bump, it had like no blood or no pus or anything. So I kept doing that for like 2 days after the piercing came out, and it just didn't want to go down. So then the third day that the piercing came out, so the bump started looking like red. In the morning when I woke up, it started looking like red, like if it had like blood inside. And then I kept putting the tea tree oil, so I was like, oh my god, what's happening to my nose? So then later on that day it started to like look purple around it. So then I started freaking out. I was like, oh my god, what's happening to my nose? So then that same day I left it like that. I just kept putting the tea tree oil. Maybe it would go down again. I was thinking that. And it wasn't going down. So then the next morning, I was still freaking out because it looked even worse. It started looking like even more purple and red, and it looked just so nasty. So then because I used a Q-tip to clean it with. So then I pressed it hard, and like all the blood started coming out in the pus, and it was just so disgusting. So I was scared though when all that was coming out. I thought I was gonna start bleeding and it was never gonna stop. So it looked so nasty, and so that's how I have a scab now. It looks like a scab. So it looked super nasty at first when it popped. It looked like so disgusting. Like my nose looked so like nasty, but right now it went down. I mean, it still looks nasty. Hopefully it goes away, but I will never in my life get my nose pierced again because that was the worst experience ever. At first, I was super excited because, it was my first piercing. And oh my god, it was just the worst experience in my life. And I will never, and I wanted my tongue pierced and I wanted my belly pierced, but I will never get another piercing in my life. I think because my skin is too sensitive, it rejected the piercing, so never again in my life I'm gonna get a piercing. So thank you guys for watching. That was my worst nose piercing experience, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you. Here's a close-up of the bump. I have blackheads, I know, and I haven't been able to use a patch because of the nose piercing and how bad it looked. So now it looks like this, and it looks nasty. I have a pimple right here too.